So in our next lesson on radicals, what we're going to cover today is how to multiply radicals. So what you need to understand is the product property of radicals, which is if I have a radical x times b radical y, what it is I do is I multiply the coefficients on the outside, and I can multiply the radicals on the inside. Okay? That's the key to this whole lesson. And then after that, you would simplify. Okay? So 2 radical 8 times 3 radical 5 gives me 6 radical 40. I have to simplify radical 40 as 4 times 10 so that I get 12 radical 10. Okay. Now, very simply, the reason this works, if I show you this with two perfect squares, it's a lot easier. Radical 9 times radical 9. Well, using the rule above, that's the square root of 81, which is 9. Well, the square root of 9 is 3. The square root of 9 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. So that shows you how that property works. Okay? 2 radical 5 squared means 2 radical 5 times 2 radical 5, which is 4 radical 25, which is 20. Okay? Now we're going to use our distributive property just like we did with binomials and trinomials. So here I have 3 radical 12 plus 3 radical 4. This simplifies. This just simply becomes 6. So I get 6 radical 3 plus 6. There's no need to do any factoring or anything to simplify this. Distribute, I get 5 radical 36 plus 5 radical 18. This is 30. This breaks down to 9 and 2, so that I get 30 plus 15 radical 2. Going to the next two. Now I'm going to use my FOIL or box method. So I get radical 18 plus 5 radical 3 plus 2 radical 6 plus 10. Okay? Now I have to look to see where I can simplify. I can simplify the 18 so that it becomes 3 radical 2. I can't simplify 5 radical 3. I cannot simplify 2 radical 6, and I just have 10. Right? And then the last example on this page, I get 10 radical 18 minus 6 radical 9 plus 20 radical 36 minus 12 radical 18. Now, you have a couple of choices. My choice would be anything that's like terms I would combine. So I'm going to get negative 2 radical 18 by combining this and this. Then I get minus 18 when I simplify that, plus 120. This is going to simplify. This simplifies, plus 102. So my final answer becomes negative 6 radical 2 plus 102. Okay. All right, to continue on. Now, the purpose of G is to show you that you cannot distribute the exponent because you have addition in there. So you would write it out as the binomial times itself. So when I FOIL, I get 4 radical 25 plus 8 radical 5 plus 8 radical 5 plus 16. This becomes 20, 16 radical 5, and 16. So I get 36 plus 16 radical 5. Okay. The next one, what I want to show you is don't simplify. Inside the parentheses, you can see that radical 32 and radical 8 can both be simplified. They're both divisible by a perfect square. My suggestion is multiply, then simplify. Okay? Can you go the alternate route? Yes, but you're probably creating more work for yourself. So I get negative 4 radical 64 plus 2 radical 16. This becomes negative 32 plus 8, which is negative 24. And then finally, the length of a rectangle measures radical 27 inches, and width is radical 10 inches. What is the area and perimeter? Okay, so let's do area first. The area is just radical 27 times radical 12. Now, since these numbers are a little bigger, you may want to simplify first. So I'm going to get 3 radical 3 times 2 radical 3. That equals 6 radical 9, which is equal to 18 inches squared. Okay? Perimeter, well, it's twice the length plus twice the width. I'm going to simplify these. And I get 10 radical 3 inches. Okay. So again, to summarize, when multiplying radicals, you multiply the coefficients on the outside, and then you multiply the radicands, and then you simplify.